welcome to episode 143 of our SAP on Azure video podcast. Today is May 10th, and together with Robert and Goran, we are here to talk about anything related to SAP and Microsoft. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
So in previous episodes, we have often talked about low-code and SAP. In most cases that I talk about it, it meant actually Power Platform and SAP. However, there are obviously lots of other solutions out there. SAP has their own low-code solution with SAP Build, and there are some great ways to integrate. But there are also some other cool partners out there, and one of them is Neptune Software. They also offer a very interesting suite that enables customers to build low-code solutions and integrate and connect them not only with SAP, but also with Microsoft. So that today I'm really happy to have some friends in our podcast, Martin and Abesh from Neptune Software, who will show us some of their apps and integrations. But as always, before we hand over to them, let's quickly take a look at some of the news from this week. And actually, it's fairly light this week. And maybe that's because we have Microsoft Build coming up. We have SAP Sapphire coming up. And I think a lot of content will be shown there. But nevertheless, Bartosz Czakowski, who has been with us several times, continues his blog post series about the CDC connector and SLT. And now after the first three parts where he talked about the basic integration, how to connect, we are now going to advanced settings. So he outlines a few steps that you can take once you have the basic scenario running, like what you can now do as a next step. So really looking at initial load, number of data load jobs. So how you can fine tune and improve the way how the CDC connector works with SLT. So if you have followed him with the first three blog posts, you should definitely also check out here part number 4. The other thing that I wanted to highlight is SAP Sapphire. As mentioned, SAP Sapphire is just around the corner. So next week, Sapphire will start in Orlando. After that, it's in Barcelona and then in Sao Paulo. I actually don't know about Sao Paulo, but at least in Orlando and in Barcelona, Microsoft will also have a booth there. So if you are interested in connecting with us, then make sure to join the Microsoft booth. I think we have some really cool demos there. We have some great presentations in our booth, and I would be super happy to also personally meet you there and have some discussions and show you some of the demos that we've prepared.
And the virtual an alternative would be virtual one, which is for free as well, right?
You're right. And actually, my understanding is that a lot of content is already available. I have to admit, I didn't take a look at this, but you're absolutely right. And for Orlando, at least, and I guess same for Barcelona, I think the keynotes will also be streamed. So if you want to listen and see what Christian Klein is talking about, then I think it's also good to tune in virtually. Good. As mentioned, that's all for this week. So with this, Martin, Abesh, first of all, thank you very much for joining us today. Maybe you can quickly introduce yourself, and then let's see what you've prepared.
Who goes first?
Martin, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So thanks, Holger, and it's a pleasure to be here. So now we do the podcast hosting part. We shifted. So as you were already several times a guest in my podcast, it's an honor to be on this one. One of the podcasts I listen on a regular basis. So I'm really happy to join you today. My name is Martin Fischer. I'm head of product at Neptune Software, so meaning heading the product management team. And I have my colleague Abesh with me. Just hand over to you, Abesh.
Thanks, Martin. Well, Holger, it's an absolute pleasure to be on this podcast, man. I'll just go ahead and introduce myself. I'm Abesh Bhattacharjee. I am a senior solution architect for Neptune Software in North America. Short and sweet, right?
And you do some amazing stuff, which I'm really interested. But before we go there, I briefly mentioned Neptune Software in the introduction, but I guess maybe not everyone is familiar with this. So Martin, I guess, can you quickly outline what is Neptune Software? What are you doing? Just a quick intro there.
Yeah, also will just quickly share some slides about that. So Neptune is a Norwegian company actually. So our headquarters is based in Oslo. We've got about bit more than 100 employees, and yeah, we have actually one product. It's a low-code, no-code platform, which is called Neptune Digital Experience Platform, and yeah, it's really focused to the SAP ecospace that are also our roots. So we were founded by a couple of SAP consultants who'd like to address issues they were facing at that time 12 or 13 years back, mainly in the mobile development space, and over time the product evolved to a full-fledged low-code, no-code platform, which is tightly integrated into the SAP space.
So basically, a lot of companies talk about mobile first. So you actually started with mobile first, and now you're broadening up and really talking about low code in general.
Yeah, right. That's really that were our roots, and it developed over time towards offering tooling for ABAP developers to manage the UI5 kind of knowledge gap they were facing when SAP went to the JavaScript side for the front end stuff. And after that milestones, I would say the whole platform involved. So actually our core product, we call it SAP Edition, is an add-on on the ABAP stack. And since several years, we are offering the so-called Open Edition, which is actually based on JavaScript, Node.js, and you can run it on any platform kind of. Yeah, so also brought a slide where we just show something about the platform. We are still very UX, UI focused. We are offering our own Fiori-like dashboards, our integration capabilities, and that's also what we will cover later. We are following API-based or mainly API-based integration patterns. We have a strong platform foundation with the well-known and robust ABAP platform on the one hand side, and the place for innovation with Node.js on the other hand. That's offers a big opportunity for our customers to bring both worlds somehow together. Enterprise mobility, I already mentioned that are our roots. We are offering tools for hybrid app development and also offline functionality you can just use it within your app you are building. That's also something our customers are really keen on. And we focus on providing tooling for developers. Actually, we are not focusing too much on the citizen developer, but to make their life simpler, so straightforward in the tooling. We can also say we offer opinionated tooling, so you don't have that much choice. You have to take what we offer in a way, but that makes it a bit simpler. You are not spending days in configuration and stuff like that.
Cool. And I actually think the Open Edition, I think, even runs on Azure. I think it's an Azure Marketplace item where you can really go into Azure. In the Azure Marketplace, you can deploy the Open Edition on Azure. So I think that's also a very strong story there for us.
Even offer it to our customer as a managed cloud service on Azure. So we run it for our customers on Azure as well. And we are also leveraging different Azure services for different use cases. So we'll talk about that in a second as well. Just some highlights. So let's come to our topic of today. So Microsoft integration, and people who might know me since a couple of years, even in my old job when I was working for Bridging IT as a consultant, SAP and Microsoft integration was very close to my heart, and that's actually the reason why I know Holger, I think, since 7-8 years, not exactly sure, but yeah, now it happens by coincidence that in my new role at Neptune, we met actually on the very first days again, and talking again about that close integration. And before we are going to show you demo what we built in that POC, I just want to talk give you some background about the use cases we are seeing. So many of our customers are using our platform in the plant maintenance or maintenance planning area, and there also what we discuss with customers, and that was also a reason why we were building that POC, is that you have different just parts of the whole process where different tools are used usually, or you can also say the users are user personas are living in different just tools in the end, and that's also, Holger, we had a joint presentation already about bringing the Power Platform and Neptune DXP together. And customers or the listeners might ask, does it make sense to have two low-code, no-code platforms? And in the end, we say yes, of course, because also our platforms, so the Microsoft side of the house and Neptune in this case, are targeting specific user personas. So we are focusing more on the process business guys who are maybe sitting in the business department, and with the Microsoft tooling is more focusing on the regular office user whose daily driver is maybe Teams or Outlook or whatever, or Excel, for example. And that comes into play when we are talking about the plant maintenance. So you can, of course, you could either do it fully within the SAP Neptune space, or fully, I think, with Microsoft tooling. But as we will see later, it's a bit more convenient for the end user. And that's what we should keep in mind when we are building applications. The end user, make it easy for them, and how to use the tooling that you bring those worlds together. We just during our POC and customers discussions, we were thinking of planning dashboards built in our platform. Document integration could be both sides, so SharePoint, for example, or maybe you need to access some documents which are stored within your SAP system. Mobility, we already covered. And if you have the choice, and I think that's a common thing since I'm in the SAP space, that workflow approvals are always a bit of an issue if the people who need to approve are not working in the tool. They have to approve them on a daily basis, or maybe just always, because then it might create some delays in the process. And last but not least, calendar integration. And so you see there are different parts, Office and the Neptune or SAP world in this case, to combine. Second process, also maybe already boring, invoice processing, where we also see a huge potential if you combine both worlds. So you have the Power Automate side of the house, starting with Outlook, which might trigger a workflow with an approval workflow. You can do information extraction from the document, where you can use maybe Azure services, or SAP BTP also offers services to do so, I think. And in the end, you could even trigger the posting to the SAP financials, and also depending on your setup in the end, do document storage, either maybe on SharePoint or within your SAP system. Just give you was too fast, sorry for that. Brief overview about the SAP edition and Open edition with our different tooling, but I don't go into detail because we want to see the demo in the end. Maybe for those who are watching that on YouTube, you can have a closer look. And then we are talking about the integration. We want to give a brief overview about what we were actually doing and about the architecture of it. And therefore I will hand over to Abesh now.
Okay, so as you can see, it's very simple. I mean, we are deeply integrated with Azure AD. We actually use Azure AD as one of our methods to log in. So the moment you're logged in with an Azure AD, you already have a token. And that token, that MSAL object, we can basically reuse to get any kind of data specific to you or the permissions that you have from by calling Microsoft Graph APIs. That's obviously something that we do. Martin is going to show you a couple of apps that we've created on using Microsoft Graph APIs. And I mean, these Graph APIs are really, really easy. I mean, I had not set forth to, develop so many applications using Graph APIs. But it's so interesting that I started off with a Power BI application, just using the Power BI JavaScript library that Microsoft has. And then I'm like, okay, this seems to be really powerful. So what else can we do with it? And with that, we got into multiple integrations, multiple apps with multiple functionality, and that was awesome. The other part is, of course, the Power Automate platform. I mean, Martin very, very well summarized it, that, these are, different target audiences. For me, our solutions just work amazingly together and lets you do some cool stuff. So very simple. Get an OAuth token. If you're using a Graph API, just use a Graph API OAuth token to call that Graph API. Or if you're using Power BI, Power Automate, just put in depending on how the Power Automate, is initiated. That flow is initiated. It can be via REST API call. It can be scheduled. So it's very simple. Martin, back to you.
Yeah, and I just want to add something about the architecture we are seeing here, and that's actually something which is kind of a common setup at our customers. So we're having we're seeing the SAP edition on the left hand side, and we have the open edition as kind of the central point. And you can, if you are familiar with SAP Gateway, for example, you might remind the architecture best practice stuff in early days of the gateway system, that you have a central gateway box which is just there as their kind of integration ABAP box in the end. In this case, it's not an ABAP box, it's our open edition, which is based on Node.js, that brings probably a bit less of a footprint in the end, but that's how we use it. That's also it brings with it very strong integration capabilities for API handling. You can just import any open API Swagger definition, and then you can go and use the API, which makes it very fast. And with the SAP backend system, we also have a very tight integration based on REST APIs. In this case, OData is of course also possible, but if we have a look to the next slide, there we also have a very powerful tool coming with our SAP edition, the so-called API Factory, which offers actually the possibility to create REST API definitions with 2 clicks based on existing ABAP artifacts like ALV reports or search apps, for example. Holger, the two of us already did demos with that. It's really fast to get that APIs up and running really within minutes. Of course, if the systems are connected, that might be the part which takes a bit more time in the end, but just to get the APIs, that's very, very fast. Yeah,
that was actually just one comment here. That was actually also something that I found extremely interesting, how easy it is using this API factory to really access basically any object in the SAP system. So I think when we did the first integration, and by the way, we have webinar recorded. We have a GitHub repo with all the steps. For me, what was really interesting, how easy it was to get the value help. So this F4 value help in the SAP system. That is something where there's typically not a BAPI. There's not an easy RFC to call. There's not an OData service that returns me these value helps. But with the API factory, it was really, I don't know, 3 clicks or something like that. And then I had access to this specific value help in the SAP system. And I could expose this then in a Power App, for example. So that was something that I really liked about this integration that we did.
Yeah, indeed. So let's start with our demo. I already shared my browser window now, and what you're seeing now is actually a Neptune Launchpad running on our Open Edition. And there we started quite simple with an UI integration for Power BI. So that might also be interesting for our customers if they're using Power BI, and we just took some of the sample content Microsoft is offering by actually. Okay, yeah, just need to do loading. It's always when you're prepared, and then you get full UI integrated Power BI reports in this case, even with maps. That's actually in this case only UI integration, but as a starting point, and that's also very interesting. Maybe Abesh, you can give some details how you actually did the integration.
You know, the best part of the entire thing is these are actually interactable. So it's the entire Power BI report in front of you. So you can select, deselect values here, go to your different tabs, and basically the report will change. So it's a live Microsoft Power BI report here. And believe it or not, it's somewhere around less than 20 lines of code, if I'm not wrong. Microsoft already has a Power BI JS library. I mean, you get that, get a list of all the reports, and then when the report, the user selects the report, use the library to load that report. Very, very simple, but very powerful in the way that you get your interactive reports in one place.
Cool.
Yeah, let's go to the next tab here, and there we've got now Outlook, mail and calendar clones, and OneDrive and SharePoint access. So actually what Abesh did is rebuild an Outlook mail client. You click on it, then you see actually my inbox. You might see the emails here, and you can even open them, answer. So that's kind of a clone for Outlook. I think that's rather a POC part. I think it doesn't make sense to have that app in a productive usage, but we just wanted to show the possibilities also with the calendar. You might experience that it's quite busy.
Yeah, I mean, one point about the mail app is I wanted to see how far I can take it. So that has like full support for attachments, full rich HTML, images and everything. And your mail will render there as it renders on your Outlook. I mean, with full HTML background and everything, right? And attachment support. If email has attachments, you can download it directly from there. So yeah, I mean, with these APIs, you can dig as deep as you want to.
And let me just put this again into perspective. So we're seeing here the Neptune portal, basically. I think that's really the important thing here, that your customers or customers that are using the Neptune platform, they would typically go in here. They have their Neptune tiles. It's very much like a Fiori-like experience where they can get access to SAP. But now with the extensions that you have built, Abesh, it's not only SAP data that they would typically see using the Neptune platform, but they can also now see, using the Graph API, using the APIs, they can see emails coming from their system, and it's all single sign-on. It's not like hard-coded technical users. It's really retrieving the live emails from the system, retrieving the live calendar entries. and all within the same user experience of the Neptune platform here.
Yeah, I mean, it's very important to us, that, I mean, generally when you access data from multiple systems, it's very disruptive to the user. He has to most probably log into multiple systems and then figure out which data comes from where. We want to make it transparent. I mean, there might be data here which are coming from SAP. I mean, actually, Martin will show an app which has data, which gets data from SAP, gets data from Microsoft, and just makes it available to you without you being you having to worry about where the data is coming from. It's just one unified user experience.
Cool.
Yeah, let's continue. We also have a OneDrive clone here that's accessing my OneDrive now. Yeah, here you see the different folders, and you can even go in there, and then you see different files we are having there, and you can even go to the SharePoint integration and access documents which are there, or having the
search experience,
SharePoint integration.
Cool. No, I think that's really fantastic. And with this, you have the Neptune experience. You can browse and navigate to some SAP content, but then at the same time, without leaving the user interface, you can now also browse content and information from your Microsoft ecosystem, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we took it we wanted to see how deep the rabbit hole goes for each and every one. So all you saw, Martin showed you the OneDrive app. You can download apps, you can delete apps. It is a full-fledged OneDrive client, right? And the API calls were so easy that I mean, it was very easy and very fun to build as well.
Nice.
Martin also showed you the OneDrive search. Martin, if you can go to the search and actually search maybe Neptune and Microsoft or something. One thing that we actually noticed is this search returns a lot better results than the actual SharePoint search. So a lot of people in my company are actually using the app to dig up data, and yeah, it's fantastic.
Cool. So and you're using the Graph API to make these queries, and then cool, nice.
So all of these 4 apps that Martin showed you, they all use the Graph APIs to get the data.
Really cool. Okay, so right now there's no data for Neptune and Microsoft. So maybe Martin cleaned up his SharePoint site too well.
Martin cleaned up a little bit too much. Yes.
But that's okay, I guess. At least lots of Neptune content, so that's good.
There's a lot of Neptune content. Yeah, you might see it now. Yeah, and you get the link immediately. And I think what those apps are showing, as I said, I think the relevance for productive use of exactly this apps is not that high, but it offers the possibility for an easy integration in any other app. And that's, I think, the value we are bringing here with us. So yeah, let's continue with the demo. We were already mentioning. I was mentioning in the introduction that plant maintenance is a very big topic for us. We have a small app here. As I said, it's a POC, so full-fledged for customers might look a bit different. But common thing is that you need to plan an inspection or any kind of request, and then we can here select the service technician. So I'm in this case the service technician, and then you can also select here is it's an inspection, a maintenance, or repair. Let's go for inspection. Okay, this one is already assigned. Let's go for here for app or repair probably, and then you see here all the things which need to be done. All the steps for that part, and then we can again go here, select an engineer. That would be me, and then yeah, we know it's in the future. Let's go to July, and then check ability. Okay, on the 12th of July, it seems that there is nothing, no slot in my calendar. So maybe take a different day. And then, okay, there's this
Cool.
3-hour slot in my calendar. And then I say I either do start a Power Automate Flow here with assigned with approval, or assigned directly, and then I can also go to my Outlook inbox. Why is it not showing up here? Wait a second.
The fun thing about this is that you saw Martin actually go and search the calendar. That actually goes to your Outlook calendar,
Nice.
searches for exactly a time slot which matches that duration. So if it's a 3-hour work, it searches your calendar for a 3-hour duration slot and basically shows it there. So that is also Graph APIs, Microsoft Graph APIs called via token. Totally oblivious to the user, he doesn't know.
But that's really cool. So out of the user interface, so the user doesn't even know probably that. So the typical workflow would be, okay, I need a 3 hours block. So let's switch over to Outlook. Let's search the calendar. Oh, there's a 3-hour block, and then go back and forth basically. And here you have the full experience directly in this one app.
Yep.
Right, and you get even a notification in Teams. Where's my Teams coming up? Wait a second. Teams. Here we go. If we go here, no, where is it? Why is there no Teams?
Search for Power Automate card. Oh, did you assign directly, or did you assign with approval? Only if you assign it with approval, it'll most probably come to Teams.
Okay. Sorry, the demo gods.
Yes, you did not pay your sacrifice to the demo gods.
Yeah, if you do it with the approval thing, you would even, maybe takes too much time to do it completely new now. But we even have a card coming in there. Maybe Abesh, you can iterate a bit on this.
Yeah, Martin, just go inside, select the engineer, and just select a date, and
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me go again somewhere in the future when my calendar is not too full. Okay, that's vacation time, maybe also not good.
Yeah, that works. And assign with approval.
Assign with approval. Okay, yeah.
And then you should have gotten a pop-up.
Yeah, where is it?
Maybe it will come in a second. So from
let's check Outlook again. There's the second one. Yeah, that's it.
But from a technology, while we're looking for this one, so the Graph API was used to check the calendar, and now for the approver, you would send a notification into Teams, where the approver then gets this card, which can be approved basically.
And okay, so let me show. If that's okay, let me share my screen.
Yeah, take over, please. So no work this afternoon when I tried it last time.
So this is how it looks. So as you can see, it actually sends you a message on here. You can also click this button and actually see the work order details if you want to. Currently, we haven't configured that, but you can actually approve or reject the work order directly from your Teams. So approve, submit, and there you go. So if I go back here, you would see this is pending, right? If I click on update now, you will see that this has just become assigned because the approval went through.
And again, the typical question, single sign-on. So I guess, I mean, because obviously in Teams, you are a Teams user, you're not an SAP user. Right. But via the adaptive card, you send a single sign-on request to the SAP system. So your specific task then gets approved.
Yeah, and it also, of course, sends me email with the details. And it also, sends me if it's calendar invite saying, hey, can you do this? Let me decline because I don't want David's schedule to get hogged up, right?
One question, when you're connecting to an SAP system to fetch some data, do you need any kind of agents there installed or no? Okay.
So we can do OData, of course. SAP has a lot of OData standard services that we can use. Otherwise, one part of our platform actually sits inside of the SAP stack. And as Martin mentioned, I thought you meant SAP agents specifically. So as Martin talked about our, the API factory. So that's also one way of exposing the data out of SAP. We also have other ways, which makes it really, really simple. I mean, you can you can use any of your existing ABAP artifacts, like any classes that you have. And by implementation of a simple interface, that class is restified automatically. You don't have to do anything.
But they need to deploy that small, I guess, ABAP package in order that you could call basically anything, because not all the RFCs or BAPIs are kind of enabled, right? And any for the consumption. Okay, yeah,
absolutely.
All right.
Cool. Well, that's a really nice scenario, a really nice integration there.
Well, Martin has most probably shown everything he had to show. I have a couple of more things to show, and let's see how.
Sure, let's go.
Yeah. And one of them, I think, flesh out of the lab, and something I don't even know whether Martin has seen this or Martin knows about this. So, Azure Form Recognizer. Right.
So just don't show the Martin salary, please. That kind of API.
I hope he has no access to it. I hope they are not on our go-to-market demo system somewhere.
No, just between you and us and Chat GPT, and Bing. And
yeah, I mean, then somebody searches for Neptune Software salary and Martin's salary comes right up in ChatGPT. But anyway, back to topic. So this is based on the Microsoft Form Recognizer API. Microsoft has the Form Recognizer where you can parse multiple kinds of documents. And that's what we used to basically do different kinds of parsing. I can show you a very simple generic invoice parsing. This is how the invoice looks like.
Wait,
3 items.
You're not sharing.
Oh, you're not sharing yet?
I didn't probably take over demo gods. Okay, do you see my screen? So
yes.
This is the app. Very simple. You select an invoice to upload. You select what kind of a document it is, or you can also parse it as a general document if you don't think the document pertains to a particular format. Select your invoice. I'll select a sample Microsoft invoice. You can see there are 3 items and some information here. Let me ask it to parse. So this actually uses the Microsoft AI Form Recognizer. It sends it to the Form Recognizer, gets the data, parses all the data, and basically presents to you in a UI. Right? Cool. Takes a little bit of time because there's a little bit of calculation in the background, but not too much. And okay.
Let's see.
Let's see.
Still recognizing.
Yep. And I tested this out 2 minutes back. Okay, slow. But
now we go. Here we go.
So basically, it got everything, and it also parsed out the items.
Oh, nice.
Right. So you have all the header data. And it's very good. I mean, you see customer address, recipient, Microsoft Corp's ID, everything, address. It extracts everything, right? And you're good to go. Just You can use it as a backend. Once a invoice comes in, you want to auto process an invoice. This is a very, very nice way to go. So this was one of the things that I wanted to show you. The other would be something very interesting. It's called Outlook actionable messages. Now, what are they? So these are actually dynamic emails that change content in your email outbox, right? So let me go to my email outbox, email inbox rather, and you can see somebody sent me an email saying that a vacation awaits me, which is awesome. But he has sent 2 of these. Okay, let me fill one of them, right? So I put in my name, Abesh, and my favorite drink is a ginger ale, right? And I click on submit. But you see, it provides me with an error message. So it actually has validation, and it's server-side validation. It says, please provide a first and last name. So oops, let me provide my last name and click on submit. So it tells me, and you can see that the email automatically updates. It sort of sends me a response saying, hey, thanks for your response. We will email you. And in the meantime, please enjoy a ginger ale, right? Now I'm like, can I submit a second, entry? Because of course, I would like to up my chances of getting, more entries if it's a lucky draw so that I can absolutely get this vacation. So I go to the next email and boom, it actually automatically updates and tells me that you have already submitted the form. So no duplicate entries this time, right?
And I think for a second or so, I think we could just see the email, but then it immediately checked, oh no, this is already approved. So it's updated. And then that's with an email. And typically email is static content. But here we have really dynamic updates directly in the email body.
Right, and we use Power Automate Microsoft cards, actionable cards for this, and we also have. I mean, if you see, the data actually flows back to the to a table in our system. So yeah, this is the entry that I just did, and it actually flows back to our system. So it touches multiple points oblivious to the user and comes back. It's amazing.
Really nice, yeah. Cool. I think these were really fantastic demos, and what I really liked is this combination, this integration. That I mean, yeah, that you're leveraging a lot of Microsoft technologies to enhance the existing scenario where Neptune software is already really good, where there are a lot of users using that, but now you're enhancing this with scenarios that are probably not so core in the Neptune platform. So you're using the forms recognizer, you're using the integration in Power BI, you're using the graph to get the calendar in entries and stuff like that. So really cool scenarios.
All right, let me quickly show you, because Martin showed the email. It was mostly blank. So let me quickly show you what the email client looks like on a wide screen, right? So you get flagged, you get the flags, you get the attachments, and I can actually click here. You can click here to actually download the attachment, and it loads just like it would load on a Outlook client. You can go anywhere. And yeah, you see it has all images, everything in the back end. It loads really, really nicely.
Cool. So now you're going in the email client development area.
Yeah, and it's very. I mean, this is the fun thing about the the OData APIs, the OData Graph APIs that Microsoft has. That I mean, everything is really well structured, so it becomes intuitive while developing. So you do something and I'm like, oh, what can I do about that functionality? And I sort of already know in my head that is the way I need to go, which was fantastic for me as a developer.
Cool, great. No, I think that was really fantastic, Abesh. And I know, I mean, the last time we talked, I think you already showed me some really cool demos. Now you have built additional amazing demos. So I'm looking forward to meeting you again and then seeing some even more amazing demos.
Absolutely. If you, I mean, one of the other things that actually we use Microsoft services productively, our platform has, so in our app builder, which is accessible to everyone, we have something called as Sketch to App, which is actually based on a GitHub repo that Microsoft had, but Microsoft had it in .NET. And I basically rebuild it again totally in JavaScript and in our platform. And it's productively available, where if you have a quick sketch, you can directly import it. It generates an UI. It recognizes all the form elements and then directly generates an UI of that as a page, so that you don't even have to design a page from scratch. If you have an image, if you have a hand-drawn image, it can actually scan that and generate a page for you.
Cool.
Cool. I mean, for transparency, I have to say that the Power Platform also has a functionality like this. But yeah, it's really amazing.
Awesome. No, that's awesome. I actually would try to look at that, because if I would want to figure out the synergies, because
yeah, perfect.
That would really be awesome.
We'll talk about it later. Cool, great. Anything else on your side?
I think we are more or less done.
Abesh started to talk now. He is unstoppable.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I'm very passionate about what I do. So and the company as well. So always love talking tech stuff with other like-minded tech people.
Perfect. Well, good. No, then let me thank you again. I think it was really great to have you here on the podcast this time. Thank you so much for all the demos, and not only slides, but really going in the system, really showing us what you can do with the combination of the Neptune software platform and Microsoft technologies, with the graph, with Power Automate. Thank you so much. I think that was really great.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Thanks for having us. It was fun. It was a pleasure.
Great. Thank you. And yeah, let's hope to see you. I hope that I can see you again sometimes on the podcast.
Absolutely.
Great.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
All
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.